Hello, I am Betsy Ferris reporting live to you from my very own dining room. Talking to you today about an interview with a secondary school counselor. That counselor is named Marina Benavides, and she counsels here in Midland at Lee Freshman High School. She is a first-year academic counselor. Before this, she was in migrant counseling for the district, and so some of her experiences are new and probably very similar to what we are going to experience. So the first question was, who defines your role as a counselor? She said that there are so many influences on your role. Obviously state, because all of our laws and mandates come from what the state and federal laws are. The district, because they always have initiatives for you to follow and kind of things that they want done on your campus. The campus administrators themselves are a huge influence because they are the ones that often have demands of you. You know, what you need to be doing and what part you're playing in various parts of the job. And then the students actually influence the role a lot too, because based on whatever the student needs, the counselor kind of has to adapt. And she said a lot of times, for example, this year there were 14 suicides in Midland, and so a lot of their activity this year was dictated by the needs of the students, and they were different than any year before. So the student actually influences the role of a counselor too. The next question was, how do you view your role as a school counselor? She says, I view it as a very important role, but one that also is underappreciated at times because others are not aware of how much a counselor is responsible for. We handle such sensitive materials, academic records, access to information for college and outreach services. We are go-to people for many. We also hold the ability to change schedules and make sure transcripts are correct. It's a very important role. When talking to her about how the principal and administration view her role, she said, I'm not sure really. I know that they feel we're important and often express gratitude for our work. And I would say that they see us as key players in planning data and student interaction. So it sounds like she has support and a lot of interaction with her administration. What is the counselor to student ratio at your school? She's about 400 to 1. She actually splits the other course load with me. I'm the other counselor for the Alpha there, so I know this counselor fairly well. We have one other person that takes part of the counseling load, and she's a collegiate coach, and so she has about maybe 100 on her caseload, but the rest are split between two other counselors. What are your specific duties? She says, wow, that's a lot to describe. Basically, we handle all the student scheduling requests, leveling courses, advising students on what to take, setting up their graduation plan, keeping up with attendance and credit loss, removing credit if a student misses too much school, sitting on the attendance review committee, data entry, building transcripts, enrolling new students, working with administration to plan for the academic year, providing information for students on academic issues, personal and social issues. She said a new duty is to head up a parenting class to help parents at our school. In addition, next year we will be on an intervention team for underperforming behavior problem kids to help hopefully change their course of action and monitor their behavior. We also counsel students that are having trouble and refer them to outside sources if necessary. And we are responsible for academic awards, inputting grades from students who are in our alternative credit earning class called A+. And we also serve as test coordinators. So a large chunk of our year is planning testing activities and preparing for STAR, as well as your pre-AP testing, load testing, etc. As far as time spent on individual or group counseling, she says that varies. School and administration are of the opinion, really on our campus, that students come first, and so no matter what we're working on, if a student needs to speak to a counselor, they stop what they're doing and work with them. Some weeks are focused on other tasks such as testing and academic awards, auditing transcripts, but realistically, it's a lot less time than I would like. That's what she says. What do you do when you have other tasks and kids to counsel? She said sometimes we come in early, we stay late, sometimes we work through lunch to get it all done. It's a busy job. Groups that she leads, basically the parenting class, her counseling perspective, she said it would be hard to just pinpoint one theory. She said, I approach every kid as an individual and take into consideration their environment, home life, education, social circles, and personal traits. I don't know that I can say I'm aligned completely with one theory. When I'm counseling, I recall information from so many approaches to gain the best overview of how to help the student. Process for referral, it really depends on what type of referral it is. If it's a suicide outcry, that type of referral is immediate and obviously very sensitive. So the first step would be to call the parent and get them involved. At that point, they have the parent take the child to the ER for evaluation. If it's just to a community agency, it depends on the agency because a lot of agencies want it by fax. They may ask you to call it in, so the referral is based on what agency you're referring to, but the parent is always involved. As far as the Texas guidance plan and the ASCA model, she said realistically she has not used that as a guiding plan for the year or anything like that. She's so heavily influenced by the district and campus that they really dictate how the time is spent and how the counselors operate. But she said the biggest source that she uses from that would be the websites. She uses the ASCA website for guidance on ethics. A lot of resources on different types of counseling and issues that you kind of come across. She's also a member of the Texas School Counselor Association. She has a membership with them and she gets a lot of resources from them in addition to training. And let's see. The biggest challenge that she faces in school counseling is getting more time to spend with the kids. A lot of times she says that unless they walk through her door or a teacher refers them directly to her, she might not know that they're in need because those students that come in usually take up the most of her time. It would be nice, she says, to get out into the halls or into the classrooms and do more preventative counseling and helping the kids outside of the office. And from whom do you get supervision when you need it? The assistant principal, other counselors in the district. The technology department was surprising because she said that they help her a lot with software and building transcripts because it's so important to get that information in, and they're the ones that have been a big go-to for her. And then our district head of counseling is someone that she goes to frequently. What other counselors do you network with and when? They have monthly meetings, and then she deals a lot with her feeder schools and the high school to which the 9th graders are going. And then how would you do things differently as a counselor in your school? She says, I would have more control over how things are run so that we could better serve students. Right now I feel like so many factors influence our time. That wraps up the information that I got from the interview from the secondary counselor. After this video, you'll see 2 slides that briefly overview the things that I thought were most beneficial or surprising from the interview. And at the end, you'll see us put together, kind of an overview of the various levels of counseling.